And we are just about set to begin the new season. Last Premier League season was exceptional, wasn't it? And this one is about to begin here at Anfield, the home of the European champions. And it's newly promoted Norwich City, who begin the new season kicking off here at Anfield against Liverpool. And immediately the ball is played back to Tim Krul, the goalkeeper. It was, for the record, Marco Stiepermann who kicked the new season off, Norwich's number 18. And here is Timo Pukki chasing for the ball down the left-hand side, which is just kept in over there in front of the towering Sir Kenny Dalglish stand. But Liverpool clear it away into the Norwich half, and Ben Godfrey gets a first touch. It's a very young team, this Norwich City side, that's been sent out by Daniel Farke this evening. Of the starting lineup, 5 of them are aged 22 or under. Here's a ball up the right-hand side from Trull for Aarons, but Liverpool have won it back. Robertson won the header. Origi on the left-hand side. Origi being cheered for his role in winning the European Cup in Madrid on the 1st of June, but he gets his pass for Robertson all wrong and sends it straight through for a goal kick to Norwich City. So it's great to have you with us for a new season on BBC Radio 5 Live. This is the first of at least 140 Premier League commentaries that will bring you this season, next season and the season after, more than any other UK broadcaster. And sitting alongside me tonight, former Liverpool man, former England international, Stephen Warnock.
What a great occasion this is for Norwich. They've waited for this moment. They started last season with the dream of playing in the Premier League, and what a way to start it, coming away to the European champions. I'm really looking forward to seeing them, John. A young, exciting team, and I just hope they play with no fear and enjoy the occasion tonight.
Yeah, I honestly hope, for their sake, that the way they've done it is a success, actually. You know, they've not gone mad in the transfer market, spent relatively little, and they've shown trust in the team that got them here and won the league last season with all of the young talent. Daniel Farke, bright young spark. When you're 42 years old and you're a manager, you're still young, and he's just putting his fingers to his nose on the edge of the coaching area down there, just a few yards away. Both coaches tonight, of course, Germans, Klopp and Farke. And Norwich with the throw just inside the Liverpool half. Aarons, the Norwich right back. Then it goes infield to Tribal, and then all the way back through Grant Hanley, the captain, the club captain. No Tim Klose, no Zimmerman. They are both on the Norwich injured list at the start of this season, so Hanley starts the opening match here. Tim Krul with a clearance. Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right-hand side, hooks a ball down the right-hand side for Salah to chase, and across comes Godfrey, who just got a cushioned header to it to send it behind for the first corner of the match to Liverpool.
Well, that's what Mo Salah brings. He brings that fear to defenders with that pace over the top, and it's a positive start from Salah. He's been out he's had that rest of 3 weeks, and we just want to see him. Is he really as fit and as sharp with not the pre-season that everyone else has had at Liverpool?
No, looked a little rusty, didn't he, at Wembley last Sunday. Alexander-Arnold then with the corner into the near post, attempted flick on, it's headed partially away, and then Cantwell is able to get his head to it for Norwich and clear it further on the edge of the box. Liverpool in the almost all red kit with the white trim. Nice ball from Robertson to Alexander-Arnold, but he plays it back. Now here's the angle ball in towards the back post. Van Dijk still up there, heads it across, but it's cleared away near the penalty spot. It comes out for Gomez of Liverpool, and then Liverpool go all the way back to Fabinho, who's actually in the centre circle. Plays it back to the captain, Henderson. Alexander-Arnold, as Liverpool in this first half attack towards the Anfield Road end. That's where the Norwich City supporters are, in the lower tier. They've got about a third, maybe almost a half of that lower section. Pukki's won the ball back on the edge of the Liverpool area. Pukki takes it out towards the left-hand side, then lays it back. The shot left-footed from Stiepermann, 2 or 3 yards inside the penalty area. He wrapped his foot around it, Stephen, but sent it wide and high of the near post.
Yeah, it's careless play there from Alisson. Tries to feed the ball out to the right full-back position. Pukki's alive to it, and good play from him. Pulls the ball back and just fires the ball over the bar. But they're the chances that Norwich have to capitalise on.
Yeah, it was the short pass out, wasn't it, from Alisson, as you said. And 1 or 2 little rusty moments, I thought, from Alisson as well at Wembley last Sunday. Long clearance from Alisson over the top for Salah to chase, and Godfrey just got his head to it on the edge of the penalty area to guide it back to Tim Krul.
Yeah, well, Alisson hasn't had a great start since he's came back. He made the mistake in one of the pre-season games as well. So yeah, you just wonder as well, has he got his mind firmly fixed on the occasion?
Oh, Tim Krul put under pressure by Origi. He took a touch, it nearly got away from him. He knew that Origi was close, so the Norwich goalkeeper quickly put it out of play for a throw-in to Liverpool level with the edge of the penalty area, which is taken to Salah. Here's Firmino, tried to thread it back to Salah, groans because it didn't reach him, then a stretch from Hanley, and then it's headed back by Godfrey to Tim Krul. But that's the second instant there in the space of a few seconds where red shirts were all over yellow and green defenders.
And that's where you don't get the time in the Premier League, and especially against Liverpool's front three, the way that they closed down, the pressure they'd put on you, and the movement of the ball, how crisply they move it and how quick they try them 1-2s in and around the box.
Yellow and green shirted, I should clarify, although with all of these young players in the Norwich side, you might say that they are a little green about the gills. Throw-in taken up the left-hand side for Norwich. McLean, the Scotland international. He deflects it, and it's out of play for another Norwich throw. Jamal Lewis, the left-back, will take this. Lewis sends it forward, it's nodded infield, headed away by Henderson. Comes down for McLean again, and McLean's ball over the top looking for Pukki, drifts out of play, and it's a throw-in to Liverpool deep inside their own half. So we're underway if you've just joined us. You might well be one of the thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of people around the country tonight who are having travel nightmares, and we really feel for you, and we'll try and keep you entertained if indeed you are having difficulties, and we'll have more on that news at half-time, by the way, here on 5 Live. Robertson playing it down the left-hand side for Origi taking on Aarons, back onto his right foot, then back onto his left. Aarons sticks with him, Origi gets the cross over, and it's deflected in. It's an own goal. The first goal of this new Premier League season is an own goal. Origi's cross, and it flew in off the shins of the Norwich captain Grant Hanley. Nothing Krul could do about that. He's absolutely distraught, Grant Hanley, leaning forward with his hands on his face. Now he walks away looking to the heavens. First goal for Liverpool, 7 minutes on the clock, 1-0 their lead, and that is almost the worst possible start for newly promoted Norwich City.
Yeah, and that was the worry. That was the worry that you had for Norwich. You can see the ball down the line to Origi. He stands the full-back up, drops onto his left-hand shoulder, fires the ball across the box, and Hanley slashes at it. He just needs to be calm, put a right foot through it. He fears there's a man behind him, and it just comes off the outside of his foot into the far corner. Terrible start for Norwich City.
Oh, you really feel for them. And Divock Origi's name being sung, but it is a Grant Hanley own goal. And I wasn't quite sure, Stephen, coming in tonight, whether Sadio Mane would be given the nod to start the season. But even though he certainly wasn't at his best, was he, Origi, at Wembley last Sunday in the Community Shield? But he is, listen, he's the man who scored that second goal in Madrid. And I think pretty shrewd, really, to start the season here at Anfield with him in the team. As Cantwell, Norwich's Cantwell, is on the end of a sturdy challenge. And Liverpool break away now down the left-hand side with Robertson. Robertson's ball towards the penalty spot. Firmino turns, and the ball just runs away from him, and Godfrey is able to get there and take it away, and is able to clear it away.
Brilliant covering from Godfrey. He knew his defensive partner was in a little bit of trouble. Brilliant again from Liverpool. Firmino gets a little bit lucky, but the big thing for me, Godfrey clears the ball. It's not sticking up front at this moment. Norwich just need to get a grounding in this game, get hold of the ball up front and take the pressure off the back line a little bit.
Here is young Cantwell, Todd Cantwell, 21 years old, but Norwich lose it in centre field. Cantwell though is onto the ball again as it bounces away, and Lewis plays it infield. Cantwell does well, escapes two men, plays it down the line. Lewis takes it on. Pukki with a flick. Back it comes to Stiepermann. Oh, and he gets his shot all wrong. 16, 17 yards out. He had a look, he saw the goal in front of the Kop, and he rather slashed at it with his left instep, Stiepermann, and sent it very high and wide.
Well, this is what we saw from Norwich in the Championship last season. We know they're dangerous up front. We know the ability that they've got. Lovely link-up play, left-hand side, feeds the ball into Pukki. It's a little Cruyff back to Stiepermann, to Cantwell, who just gets his shot completely wrong.
Stiepermann stares at the ground already in this match, a couple of moments, and Jordan Henderson there with a nutmeg on the far side, starting off another Liverpool attack as Wijnaldum seemed to get his ankles caught. There he was by McLean, but Liverpool wanted to take a quick free kick, but Michael Oliver says no, let's bring it back. And McLean, I think he knew what he was doing there, and I'm surprised if Michael Oliver doesn't have a word. The foul on Wijnaldum, it was really opening up. It all started with Henderson's nutmeg on the far side.
Oh, lovely little nutmeg, really, a cheer from the Anfield crowd. But Liverpool looked dangerous going forward. You could just sense that Norwich were feeling they were in danger.
Liverpool leading by 1-0. The own goal, the Hanley own goal. Free kick taken square. Robertson curls it in. Headed away by Pukki, who's back inside his own penalty area, the Finnish international, nodding it out of play for a throw down the right-hand side that Alexander-Arnold is coming across to take. Liverpool, who have won their last 40 home Premier League matches. They've won, beg your pardon, they're unbeaten in their last 40 home Premier League matches. They've won 30 of them. Won 30, drawn 10. I mean, that is what Norwich are facing here, and to go a goal down early in the way that they did, Liverpool's position as overwhelming favourites in this match has only been strengthened. Van Dijk now in the centre circle with all of those Player of the Year awards last season. Finds Wijnaldum. Now Robertson with a cross, whipped towards the back post. Salah was there. Also, Lewis was with him, and Salah's touch as he tried to hook it back just sliced it straight behind for a goal kick. Stephen Warnock.
Very good defending from Lewis there. That's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to be strong at the back post, because you know that Salah's going to be there or thereabouts trying to sniff out a goal. Good defending from Lewis.
Liverpool leading Norwich by 1-0. This is the first of our 4 Premier League commentaries on the opening weekend. The next one, 3 o'clock tomorrow, and that is the Bournemouth-Sheffield United match. Ian Dennis will have Michael Brown alongside him for that one. Sheffield United's first match back in the Premier League. And then Sunday, the all-new 5 Live Premier League Sunday, as we're calling it. 2 o'clock, Newcastle against Arsenal. 4:30, Manchester United against Chelsea are your 2 Premier League commentaries. And then on Monday night, Kelly Cates will be hosting the Monday Night Club, when we will discuss everything that happens on this opening weekend. Norwich in the yellow and green shirts, green trim on the shoulders, green shorts, yellow socks, providing a real splash of colour here on this stormy evening. It's dry at the moment, the rainbow's gone, the clouds are high, and you can just about see the Pennines. Here's Tim Krul clearing the ball, high to the halfway line. Van Dijk wins the header. Then it's taken down in centre field. Buendia, the young Argentine, former Real Madrid youngster. And then it's back all the way to the unfortunate Grant Hanley, who turns it back to goalkeeper Krul, who delayed his clearance, very nearly struck the outstretched leg of Firmino. And then Buendia on the right-hand side here loses out to Wijnaldum, who's going to take it all the way back and give it to goalkeeper Allison, who's being put under pressure by Pukki, but is able to recover his composure and finds Robertson on the halfway line, who nods it down the line to Origi. Origi chasing on, right-footed cross. Godfrey got his head to it and nods it down. Lewis chasing out there. Salah allows the ball to run. It runs off the pitch. The ball boy gives it to Salah, takes a quick throw. Henderson, right side, looks for the cross, which just loops up. Might have taken a flick off the defender, and Tim Krul is able to catch it. 1-0 Liverpool lead, Stephen Warnock.
It's just decision-makings for Norwich. That's the big thing that's going to cost them tonight. As the ball went up to Robertson, then McLean goes tight on Robertson, but he isn't aware of Origi behind him, and Origi just burst down the left-hand side. These are little key decisions that could cost Norwich.
We've played almost a quarter of an hour of this new Premier League season, and Liverpool lead through the 7th minute own goal. But now the ball is played forward by Lewis. Here's Pukki, left side of the area, tried to shoot, it was blocked, it comes out, Buendia's in there, the ball's bouncing around, Van Dijk came across and he was able to take charge and clear it out for a throw on the far side.
It's been a similar situation all pre-season for Liverpool. They've looked vulnerable at the back, and again there was flaws in the back four there. Lovely ball through from Lewis to Pukki, and he just delayed the shot and allowed Trent Alexander-Arnold to come back. But good signs from Norwich that they're growing into the game a little bit and showed their attacking instinct.
Here is Cantwell cutting in from the left, lays it into Pukki, who drives it across the face of the 6-yard box and runs all the way into the Liverpool left-back area. Then the ball is pulled back by Aarons towards the edge of the penalty area, but then Buendia twists and loses possession, and Liverpool break dangerously. Firmino rides the challenge that comes in on him from Stiepermann. Now Wijnaldum, Alexander-Arnold down the right-hand side. Alexander-Arnold deep cross to the back post. Defender Aarons heads it away for Norwich. It comes out to Origi. Origi back into Robertson, shoots from the angle, but it whizzes past the angle of the top corner and behind into the Anfield Road end for a goal kick.
What a fantastic game this is so far. One chance for Pukki, who gets down the line, pulls the ball across and no one's there. You think the danger's clear, and Norwich get it again, but then Liverpool break once they win it back, and great play, couple of 1-2s in the midfield, and a great shot from Robertson just high wide of the left upright.
Yeah, good and lively start to the game, Stephen. We sort of hoped and expected it would be, the way that Liverpool play here at Anfield, the way that Norwich played so excitingly to win the championship last season and win that trophy, the old Football League trophy that was once almost part of the furniture here at Anfield. Here's Salah on the right-hand side. Salah drifts past his man into the penalty area, up against Godfrey, and then the tackle back, which was an important one from Tribal. He was beaten, but he was able to recover and was able to clear it away.
Yeah, Salah just goes past Tribal like he's not even there. He couldn't get anywhere near him, but it was the same as last week, John, what we saw at the Charity Shield. He didn't pick his head up. He was a little bit too greedy for me. Find the man in the box and it's a possible goal-scoring chance.
Tom Tribal, the young German under-20 international, who is playing in one of the holding midfield positions. As I mentioned, Alex Tettey is also on that injured list. Otherwise he might well have started the season. Experience in the Premier League there as well. Liverpool leading Norwich by 1-0. I don't know whether you were at the match at Carrow Road last time they played one another, Stephen. It was an absolute thriller. I remember it well. It was a 5 live commentary match that was won 5-4 with a late goal from Adam Lallana, and at one stage Liverpool were 3-1 down. Norwich playing the ball from inside their half. Here is Cantwell, who's done well pre-season for Norwich. They've had a bit of a mixed time as well, but Norwich lose it. Flick from Salah. Here's Firmino running from deep, gives it square to Henderson. Henderson now to the left-hand side to Robertson. Robertson's left-footed ball towards the penalty spot is hooked away to comparative safety. Only back to the red shirts though, and they start again. And already in this game we're seeing what was such a feature at Anfield last season, whether it's Alexander-Arnold on the right-hand side or Robertson on the left-hand side. It is danger, so dangerous for the opponents, these attacking Liverpool fullbacks on their home ground. Wijnaldum just rolls his foot over the ball and gives it back towards Henderson, deep-lying position. Jurgen Klopp, I notice, standing with his hands behind his back, then sends out some instructions, pointing out onto the field as it comes back to Van Dijk. He's almost a demigod round here, Van Dijk, isn't he? As I was driving up towards Anfield this evening, I lost count of the number of Virgil number 4 Liverpool shirts I saw on the streets or pouring out of the buses. Here's Henderson, now to the right-hand side to Gomez. Gomez picks a lovely ball out for Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold beats Cantwell, tries to beat him again. The ball bounces for Salah. Norwich have 3 men in there. It bounces for Firmino, back to Salah from the angle. Salah scores! 2-0! And Mo Salah is off and running for the new season. Too much for Norwich. Firmino and Salah working brilliantly together. The angle was extremely tight, but he tucked it away superbly. And it's Liverpool 2, Norwich 0, and we've yet to play 20 minutes.
And it all comes from the ball from Joe Gomez. A lovely ball down the right-hand side to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Takes the Norwich defenders out the game completely. Alexander-Arnold looks up, there's no one in the box, tries to go alone, it's not on, finds Salah in the middle. He gets a little bit fortunate with a ricochet. Great ball from Firmino, and Salah does what Salah does. Takes a tiny touch in the box, opens the ball up onto his left foot and just finds the far corner. Brilliant from Mo Salah.
Well, we said on a number of occasions when Dion Dublin was with us for the Community Shield commentary last Sunday that Salah hadn't really got his sights right, and there were a number of occasions when you thought Salah at the top of his game would probably have scored that there. Well, he looked properly sharp when he took that one away.
He did it. It's that confidence to slow the game down when you get in the box. All the great strikers do it. They make time stand still in the box, and it's that little touch that sucks the defender in enough, brings the keeper out that little bit more, opens the angle up. Great finish from Salah.
But you're right, Stephen, to pick out the Gomez pass that was perfect, actually.
Yeah, it was lovely, and it was, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold was a little bit frustrated. I'll just let you go here, John.
Yeah, Gomez has found Salah this time on the right-hand side, who tried to set up Henderson. Back it goes to Salah on the edge of the box. Firmino trying to give it back to Salah this time. Godfrey's able to step forward and take it away. And Norwich, on occasions, are chasing shadows here, and Liverpool really putting the wind up them. First 20 minutes of their return to the Premier League after 3 years away, they've already conceded 2 goals, and you can tell that Anfield, well, you can hear, wherever you're listening to us tonight, you can hear that Anfield is hungry for more, and there's been some last-ditch defending. OK, they were a little unfortunate with the second goal. There were 1 or 2 unfortunate breaks of the ball as Salah and Firmino found a way through, but they're riding their luck, and now Henderson lifts the ball across, but that will be a comfortable catch for Kroll.
I think it's important to say that the system that Liverpool are playing, Trent Alexander-Arnold is playing high and wide on that right-hand side, and Mo Salah's just playing maybe 10 yards further in field than we expect him to play. Usually he hugs that touchline, and you can just see him and Firmino are really, they're lively tonight. They're bouncing the ball off each other, always looking to sort of find each other in the box with a little bounce pass. They look very, very lively.
So Liverpool 2, Norwich 0. And the sky's just brightening a little over Anfield, not for Norwich with this scoreline, but here they are now trying to find a way through. Pukki could be in, but the offside flag is up. Alisson does well, having made the block, then threw himself at the bouncing ball and clawed it away. It was played through, wasn't a great deal in it. Buendia, his pass forward, Pukki just adjudged offside.
The pass from Buendia is sensational. It's a little stab, he puts backspin on the ball, just dinks it over Van Dijk's leg, and Pukki just makes his run a little bit too early, but the ball is sensational. It's so nonchalant. I'm not so sure he's offside.
Well, I think he is. Do you not think?
An arm? Yeah, maybe, just an arm offside. It's such a fine margin. No, Alisson does fantastic to come out and spread himself, but the signs are there from Norwich, John. They're dangerous on the attack. And
listen, Stephen, what we should say is that is a great, if it is offside, I think the old blue line would have showed that back in Stockley Park would show that was just offside. What a good call that is by the assistant.
Yeah, and looking at it again, John, it is a very, very good call.
Yeah, you know, and time again we'll talk about the decisions that are made in VAR and this, that and the other when that debate goes on, but as Cantwell is caught there by Alexander-Arnold, that was another heavy challenge on Cantwell. It's just a free kick, but I think when you see decisions like that, it is not easy, and that is a great decision by the assistant. Yeah. Liverpool leading Norwich 2-0.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, you see so many people, they try to be a linesman, they try to read things. It's such a difficult skill. We have to give them the credit where credit's due.
And actually, the other thing, if you get the chance to go to Stockley Park and sit in the seat, it is, you know, it's a real education when you sit there and try and do what they do. They are, of course, qualified officials. Hanley sends the ball high towards the far side, but that's over the head of Lewis. Just drifts out of play for a throw into Liverpool. BBC Radio 5 Live. The Premier League is back, and we are here with it, and we will be all the way through the thrills and spills that are waiting over the course of the next months ahead. We've got a new Saturday 6:06 for you tomorrow night as well, after the Bournemouth-Sheffield United commentary and sports report. It will be Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton this season on a Saturday night. And new for Sunday night, Robbie Savage this week with Emma Jones on 6:06. The squad with Nick Bright returns as well Sunday 11:30 in the morning. But here on a Friday night, the Premier League action with Norwich coming forward, but Aaron slips. However, he's able to work the ball in. Buendia, edge of the area, left foot shot from inside the D, but didn't catch it and it just rolled through like a back pass for Alisson to pick up, and then a long ball forward from Alexander-Arnold. I think the wind caught that and took it all the way through to Krul.
Yeah, well, Todd Cantwell hit a ball there, and he actually put his hands up to apologise. Max Aarons didn't give up on the ball, and it held up in the wind, and that's where the opportunity came from to Norwich. So as much as we think it might be quite calm up here, John, I think down there it's obviously affecting the game a little bit.
Yeah, it's a real swirly one, as it so often is here. Remember when we were here at the end of last season, when we were perishing? Who was that? Was that the Huddersfield match?
I think I've just thawed out about a week ago, John.
And we thought summer had arrived, and we sat up here and it was perishingly cold. Not bad tonight at all. Liverpool 2, Norwich 0. And here is Aarons now. Aarons, Buendia pulls it infield. Stiepermann brings it down and shoots, but Alisson is able to drop down to his left and parry the ball away. And then Robertson wins the ball back from Pukki and hits a long one downfield, using the wind this time. Hanley, unconvincing, cleared it into his own body, and it bounced out of play for a throw-in. He knew that Salah was lurking, but he managed to, just about of a fashion, get it out of play.
Jurgen Klopp is going ballistic on the side here down below us. He's just gesturing to his backline to do more. Van Dijk was holding his hands up to Fabinho, saying that when the ball gets pulled back down the right hand side, you have to be on Stiepermann, you have to pick him up and see him, because Norwich have shown 3-4 times now they've caused Liverpool big problems, and if it wasn't for Alisson, this could be a different scoreline.
It is Liverpool 2, Norwich 0, but we've seen that effort there that was saved. Stiepermann with the shot. Stiepermann had a good chance on the edge of the area that he hit badly wide. Buendia's effort as well that he didn't catch. You know, I think you were spot on with what you said before the start of the season. Even though we've not yet seen Norwich play a half in the Premier League this season, it's going to be all about what they can do to keep it tight at the back, but they will create chances, just as you said in your assessment of them before the game. Here is Krul inside the penalty area. Origi, who's involved in the opening goal, just as he was in the final goal for Liverpool of last season, that has been celebrated rightly so long and hard. 2-0, Hanley own goal, and Mo Salah getting off the mark. 27 goals in the end last season, including the opener from the penalty spot in the Champions League final. Here is Origi. Origi now taking on Hanley into the penalty area, then back out of it into the full-back position. Turns Origi, gives it back to Robertson. He has a look up, thought about swirling one into the box, gives it back to Origi. Origi now challenged, but Aarons goes down. Origi still plays it to the edge of the box. Now Robertson's ball in, takes a deflection near the corner of the box off Tribal, which took it away and behind for a goal kick, for a corner to Liverpool from the left-hand side.
Just interesting to see the relationship that's different between Robertson and Origi and Robertson and Mane. When Origi gets the ball, Robertson's he's not going past him, because Mane so often will fill in for him. I don't think Origi has that defensive side to him.
Corner for Liverpool from the left. Salah to take it to the edge of the 6-yard box. Van Dijk heads it down and in, and it's 3-0 with less than half an hour played. Van Dijk, so cool, just trots away to take the acclaim of Anfield and indeed of his teammates. 3-0 now, so simple.
It's too easy. I mean, yes, Virgil van Dijk is a towering centre-half, but he has to be marked better. There's no challenge on him. I'm sure it's Jamal Lewis who's marking him. I can't understand that, why he's marking Virgil van Dijk. He's trying to get hold of him, he's got hold of him, trying to push him back, but there's no challenge on him. He doesn't even get up off his feet. Virgil van Dijk just powers the ball into the back of the net, and this is a terrible start for Norwich City in the start of their Premiership campaign.
3-0. This could be ugly for Norwich here tonight. Liverpool clearly in the mood, and with, well, over an hour to play, Liverpool already leading by 3-0. And listen, you know, it didn't click for them pre-season. There were some strange results on their many and varied travels that Liverpool went on as European champions, and indeed as all of the top Premier League clubs have to do. That is That is a fact of modern commercial and marketing life. I don't particularly like it, all of the travels that they go on, but they have really clicked tonight when it really matters.
I think there's a lot you have to take into consideration. I watched a lot of the games that Liverpool played in pre-season, and they're playing on baseball pitches that have been relayed with fake pitches. Then you've got double sessions before games, and that's what pre-season's about. It's not about results. Don't read too much into that. I've been there where I've had amazing pre-seasons. You get to the first game of the season and you lose, and I've had it the other way around as well. The players will know that it's a process, and you've just got to get yourself in peak condition for this first game of the season.
And Liverpool plainly have. And here they go again. Henderson back to Salah on the right-hand side. Salah up against Lewis. Henderson allows the Salah pass to run to Fabinho. Square from him to Robertson. Now to the edge of the penalty area. Liverpool sniffing goals. Origi plays it in from the left-hand side, and it rattles around there. It hit McLean, who was left on the ground. Norwich cleared. Another ball in. Firmino shoots on the turn. This time it's saved by a diving Krul to his left-hand side. He flicked it over his shoulder, hit the volley, and Krul was equal to this one, and it remains 3-0. Still Norwich though with the ball in their own penalty area. Godfrey just hacks it clear.
Sensational technique from Roberto Firmino. Just chests it down and in an instant swivels on the left foot. How he keeps it down that low. Credit to Tim Krul though. Fantastic save. Keeps Norwich at 3-0.
There is now half an hour played. That's been a horrible first half hour back in the Premier League for Norwich City. They've had chances at one end in front of the Kop, not been able to take them. Alisson has been able to save them, and they've conceded 3 bad goals really. The own goal to start things off, Origi's ball from the left-hand side that flew off the leg of Grant Hanley into his own net. As Liverpool come forward again, Origi and Firmino in the D, then it bounces across the penalty area and out to the far side. Wijnaldum turns, plays it back to Firmino. Firmino now on the edge of the penalty area, tried to poke it through with the toe end of his boot. It was blocked, and Norwich are able to clear with Lewis. But with everyone back helping out, including Pukki, that ball to the halfway line just gives possession back to Liverpool, and Van Dijk to Origi on the left-hand side. Origi, Wijnaldum takes it on, trying to drive past McLean, who went with him and forced him to check back and give it back towards the halfway line. Van Dijk to Gomez. Alexander-Arnold on the right-hand side, and then it's deflected out of play on the far side by Tribal for a throw-in to Liverpool, who lead here by 3-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Rugby League on Sports Extra, by the way. 5 Live Sports Extra. Dave Woods bringing you commentary on the Wigan-Hull KR game. We'll get your latest score on that if we can. Origi playing the ball forward, but it bounces straight through for a goal kick to Norwich. So 3-0, Stephen Warnock.
Yeah, just looking at Jordan Henderson there, making the run past Mohamed Salah. That's the difference in Jordan Henderson's game this year. What a difference it made when he moved into that advanced position and started making them runs from midfield, the power of his running. This worries me now though, John. Look at this, the way Norwich playing out from the back, and you just feel that they're trying to invite pressure onto themselves that they don't need. I know you want to stick to your game plan, you want to stick to playing a certain style, but Liverpool are on the game tonight. They look fluent, they look in the mood to play football tonight, and they feel that they can score a hatful of goals.
Inviting them on, Stephen, and they don't need any second invitation. It's 12-all, by the way. Wigan and Hull KR 12-all in the 5 Live Sports Extra commentary match. Listen to that via BBC Sounds. Here's Van Dijk playing the ball out towards the far side. Alexander-Arnold picks out Henderson. So much space for Liverpool. The movement is defeating Norwich as much as anything else. Salah now receives it from Firmino. Ball in from the right-hand side from Henderson. Krul, who was actually coming out off his line and had to quickly check back and palm it away behind for another corner, which is quickly taken by Liverpool. But then the ball into Salah. Jamal Lewis, the left-back, got there first for Norwich and was able to take it away and win a throw-in nearer that halfway line. So a throw-in to Norwich halfway inside their own territory. Norwich City back in the Premier League after 3 years away. They were relegated in 2016 when Alex Neil was in charge, having brought them up under Alex Neil, but straight back down And it's such a stern challenge, isn't it? Whoever comes up when you arrive in the Premier League. Here's Cantwell doing well, turns up against two Liverpool players, finds Pukki on the left-hand side. Pukki now cuts into the box. Van Dijk went with him and was able to get a foot to the ball to send it behind for Norwich's first corner. It used to be that you simply did not go past Virgil van Dijk, but he was dribbled past in the Community Shield, I noticed last weekend.
I'm not so sure about that.
You're not having that one?
No, I thought...
Do you know what? I saw that and I thought, when was that?
Have you seen the clip?
Go on.
So Jesus, he takes the ball back and then he makes a pass.
Here's the corner for Norwich, which is headed down and wide by Tom Tribal from, 10 yards out. So you say nay,
I'm still saying he was not being dribbled past. Yeah. For me, it wasn't a clear dribble. Still in control.
Well, he wasn't dribbled past there either by Pukki. Here's Robertson. Robertson's over the top of Salah, and Norwich have got it back. Ben Godfrey, another one of the youngsters, 21 years old in central defence, former York City youngster. And Alisson's got a problem. The Liverpool goalkeeper, having taken the goal kick, Alisson has gone down, he's sat down and he's calling for assistance, and it looks like a calf problem for the Liverpool goalkeeper, and this could be a step straight into the action for new signing Adrian if Alisson is not able to continue. So Adrian, who's been sent out to warm up, signed this week after Simon Mignolet went back to Belgium after his 6 years at West Ham. He is now preparing for what could be a debut for Liverpool at Anfield. Alisson actually took a shortish goal kick, and he was trying to play it out towards the left-hand side, and he slipped as he did so, you know. That could be the problem, and immediately put his hand to his right calf. So, as I mentioned, Adrian is now being prepared, and Adrian is coming on, it would seem.
Well, I don't think it'll faze Adrian. I think he's a big character, very influential in the West Ham dressing room, a real part of their changing room, big character there. So this won't faze him. I think he'll enjoy the challenge of coming here. He said he wanted to put pressure on Alisson. I don't think he'd have thought it had come this quick in his opportunity, but what a chance he's got now, because calf injuries can take 3 weeks if not more to come back, so this could be a chance for Adrian to get a run in the team.
Yeah, it doesn't look great, does it, for Alisson? They're being very, very careful with him. As he went down, immediately clutched the top of his calf with his blue glove, and since he sat down he's hardly moved. The stretcher's coming on. So for Adrian, obviously there'll be the opportunity to have a run of games in the Liverpool team. There is the prospect of playing in the Super Cup in Istanbul next week, the UEFA Super Cup match next Wednesday night, by the way. Liverpool against Chelsea in Istanbul. We will be there. You'll hear 5 live commentary from inside the new Besiktas stadium, and everything about this. And Alisson actually is not going to take the stretcher. He's got to his feet. He's got his arm around one of the Liverpool medical staff. He gets a huge cheer from the cop. He acknowledges that with his left hand. He's got his right arm around the medical man. He's continuing to wave, almost like a golfer coming up the 18th at the Open Championship. A little wave, another wave, and he's led around behind the corner flag and away towards the Liverpool dressing room. And we will see now Adrian, who was signed just 3 days ago, running onto the field. Welcome to Liverpool, Adrian, this son of Seville, making his debut for Liverpool here at Anfield in the first match of the new Premier League season. I was going to say nothing has gone wrong for Liverpool in this first half, but now it has.
Well, what a reception that was from Adrian. If you want a little bit of a confidence booster coming onto the pitch, it was interesting to see Jurgen Klopp as well, give him a big hug, laughing as he was sort of waiting for him to go on the pitch, as if to say, I bet you didn't expect this to happen that quick. But what an opportunity for him to go and play for Liverpool and to stamp his authority and perhaps, you never know, just dislodge Alisson.
Liverpool leading Norwich by 3-0, but they've lost their goalkeeper, Liverpool, Alisson, who has just now made his way down the tunnel. Norwich has played back underway. Here's Buendia, who tries to turn, and then Origi is caught, and it's a free kick after that challenge by Tribal. Free kick for Liverpool, 10 yards inside the Norwich half. BBC Radio 5 Live. The goals, a Hanley own goal, Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk on the score sheet in the 7th, the 19th and the 29th minutes. So Liverpool with Van Dijk and Adrian. You can almost see him, Stephen, taking a couple of deep breaths. He's out there as Liverpool have possession in the central third of the field. He's rubbing his gloves together. Not a bad signing though, you know, for a backup goalkeeper, as you say. He had some very good times at West Ham.
Yeah, an exceptional goalkeeper. I think there's no taking away from that. Liverpool were reluctant to lose Simon Mignolet, but being such a good servant to the club, they wanted a good replacement who could play first team football if required. They've got that man. I think a very, very good replacement.
Before that, had an excellent reputation at Real Betis as well, if you remember. Ball played forward for Norwich down the left hand side. This for Stiepermann to chase. Stiepermann's had a couple of chances for Norwich, and then Lewis gets involved as well, but the ball bounces out of play for a throw-in to Liverpool. Norwich, however, win it back, and the ball finds its way to Max Aarons on the right-hand side. Then it's worked towards the edge of the penalty area by Buendia. Pukki making a run across the box, but Van Dijk got there first, and Liverpool have it back. Fabinho at pace sends a pass that was brilliantly controlled by Wijnaldum. And now tearing forward, Henderson, Salah on the right-hand side. Henderson makes himself available wide on the right. Henderson then turns and rolls it back to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold angle ball, Origi with a header! It's 4-0! Too easy for Liverpool. Origi 10 yards out. Alexander-Arnold picked him out, and Origi with a little glance of the head did the rest. Liverpool 4, Norwich City 0. And this Premier League season is not yet 45 minutes old.
A great run from Henderson. He lays the ball back to Alexander-Arnold, probably 10-15 yards off the penalty box, and he drills a ball into the penalty box. Origi makes the run off Max Aarons in behind Grant Hanley, and Hanley just gets caught under the ball. He can't get to the ball. Great header from Origi, and Tim Krul with no chance at all. And I wondered if the game would have just gone that little bit flat with Alisson going off. Liverpool, they haven't gone flat, they've just continued where they left off.
And that's a popular goal for Origi to score. It's actually his 100th Liverpool appearance tonight as well, Divock Origi. So he's got one assist for the Hanley own goal, and now he's got a little goal of his own as well. And after his brilliant finish to last season, Divock Origi, with his goals not only in the Champions League final but in the semi-final as well, and now Firmino with a lovely trick there, a flick as much as a trick. Now Salah cutting in from the right-hand side, has space, chips it in, aiming for Firmino, and an important glancing header away behind for a corner. Otherwise it could have been even worse. It was Stiepermann, wasn't it, who was back in there. And it is another corner though for Liverpool, and they scored from the last one from this side.
Brilliant football again from Liverpool. They're at the best. Great covering though from Stiepermann, who just sees the run, gets in behind Hanley, and what a header that was to help his teammate out.
4-0 Liverpool lead. BBC Radio 5 Live. This is already over as a contest. It's all about how many Liverpool score. And now Salah, after taking the corner, gets it back near the corner of the box, swings it over. Alexander-Arnold trying to take it on. And from a Norwich point of view, whether they can stem the flow of the Liverpool goals. But Liverpool have been irresistible.
They have. But John, you look along the back line, Jamal Lewis 21, Grant Hanley 27, Godfrey 21, Max Aarons 19. There's no experience in that back line apart from Grant Hanley, and Grant Hanley's had a tough night so far, scoring the own goal, being caught out for the fourth goal. Where's that leadership going to come from now, and that experienced head? And
so much space now for Alexander-Arnold on the right-hand side. He can almost pick his spot, which he does. Firmino was the target. This time defender Aarons was with him and was able to get a touch on it. Liverpool come again We're in the 45th minute. Origi now for Robertson's cross, comes off the legs of Aarons behind. Another corner to Liverpool from the left-hand side.
Just relentless pressure now from Liverpool, isn't it? And how tiring is this going to be on the Norwich players' legs? They'll be desperate to get in for half-time, just to get a breather, get a drink, get themselves set again.
Salah trots across, skips across almost, to take this corner just next to where the Norwich City supporters are sitting. Salah swings it into the near post and it's headed away. Only out to Gomez. Shoot, 1 or 2 shout for Gomez. Instead gives it to Salah on the left-hand side. Salah with the outside of his boot curls it with an angle, but beyond the far post and behind, and we'll see that there are 3 minutes of time to be added on at the end of the first half. So it is 4-0, and at the break we will have a full news roundup and more on the travel disruption that has been caused this evening. Jonathan Overend is with us here, up on the broadcaster's gantry at Anfield in the top tier of the main stand, where we have a brilliant view of proceedings. The floodlights are brightly on at Anfield. It is red and white almost everywhere you look, apart from that little Norwich City section. A sobering first 45 minutes for Norwich City on their return, and Daniel Farke in his first match as manager in the Premier League with so much to think about, as Liverpool, Fabinho is unable to find Wijnaldum with his pass. Wijnaldum again, now up through the middle towards Firmino, who is able to ride the challenge from Tribal, turns onto his left foot. Firmino tries to thread it through to Robertson, a touch from Aarons but not enough. Firmino's got it back, he's on his left foot, he shoots, it's deflected down and then up, which took the pace off it, and Krull was able to sprint forward and grab the ball. And actually Aarons, who Firmino's shot deflected off, I think has just taken the ball,
I think it's the crown jewels,
nether regions.
But you just
so
look
take a little while to recover.
Yeah, I just look at the space now that Liverpool are getting. The midfielders are picking the passes at will. Firmino really looks in the mood, but he's finding them areas to get on the ball, and he's causing Norwich all kinds of problems. Norwich have just dropped and dropped and dropped, and that's what happens when you lose the confidence in what you not what you're doing, but you fear what's happening, what they're going to bring. I really fear for Norwich in the second half as well.
4-0 to Liverpool. Still, Max Aarons is recovering. 5 Live Sport will be on air tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Jonathan Overend will be in charge of things. We'll bring you live commentary throughout the season on the best of the 3 p.m. kickoffs on a Saturday afternoon. Ian Dennis and Michael Brown will be at the Bournemouth-Sheffield United game for that. We'll also have the fastest and most comprehensive goal service all around the leagues, up and down the country. And Dion Dublin will be part of the programme tomorrow in the early stages. Ian and Michael Brown will be involved. You'll hear as well from Declan Rice, Jack Grealish, Phil Jagielka and many, many others as we build up to the start of the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League tomorrow afternoon. I see the FA Cup started tonight as well. Do you notice the extra preliminary round is underway this evening? So football very much back with us now. Liverpool leading Norwich by 4-0. Aarons has recovered. Henderson has taken a knock. I think he's going to be okay, even though the medical people sprint on. The Liverpool captain just taken a bang, possibly in the throat, but he's leaning forward, he's sitting up, he's okay. And that's the half-time whistle. Brilliant start to the new Premier League season for Liverpool. Just what they wanted, just what Anfield wanted. And for Norwich, well, that's been a real horror show for them to concede 4 goals in the first 45 minutes. 4-0, Stephen Warnock.
Well, Liverpool, Anfield expected. They wanted a good start to the new Premier League season. They've had it. Norwich came here believing that they could upset and stay within the league and have a good start here tonight. It's not happened for them, but Norwich have had good spells in the game. They've had opportunities, but that's the difference between Premier League and Championship level.
It's been a Friday night spectacular so far for Liverpool, who lead Norwich City by 4-0 at half-time. And as I say, Jonathan Overend is sitting up here at Anfield with us.
4-0 is an enjoyable scoreline in these parts, isn't it? Certainly for those who were here the night of the Barcelona comeback. 4-0 as well, their victory on the opening weekend last season against West Ham. They scored 5 last season. That was as good as it got against Watford, Huddersfield and Arsenal. They will definitely fancy their chances tonight of bettering it. Stephen Warnock, space, the way Liverpool exploit space in the danger zones, is that almost one of the most frightening things when you come to one of the best teams, one of the most fluid teams, the fear of space?
Yeah, because you sat in that changing room saying, I cannot get near them. How do we get near them? And it's the rotation of the forward players. It's the ability to find that space. They know how to find that space. Jurgen Klopp's just created an exciting team. You look at them and you look at Manchester City. It's the way they play. It's the way they find them areas, and that's what makes them so dangerous. In the Norwich changing room, they'll be asking the manager now, how do we fix this? How do we stop this? Because the amount of work that will have gone on the training ground over the last couple of months for Norwich preparing for this game, till you step onto the pitch with world-class players, that's when you realise the quality of them, because you can't work against that in training. It's very difficult because you don't have that world-class ability in your own ranks.
Second half to come from here. One match in the Scottish Championship tonight. Started at 7:05, so they're close to a finish there with Dundee United leading 2-1 at Partick Thistle. 2 matches in Super League, as John's been telling you. Wigan Hull KR 12 points all. That's on Sports Extra. Leeds 16-8 ahead against Catalans. We're going to have Jonathan Agnew on cricket and Chris Jones on rugby union during this half-time break. It is the opening weekend of the new Premier League season on 5 Live. We've got it covered for you with 4 commentaries this weekend, 140 across the season, and the action will resume after the latest BBC News. Richard Foster.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Nearly 1 million people have been affected by a power cut across large areas of England and Wales. Blackouts were reported across the southeast, southwest and northeast of England, the Midlands and Wales itself. National Grid says it was caused by problems at 2 power stations, which have now been resolved. But the knock-on effects tonight are huge, especially for anyone trying to catch a train. Our reporter Ben Ando joins us now. How there, Ben? The power is back on, but the problems continue this evening.
Yes, good evening. Well, our understanding is that around 4 o'clock this afternoon, 2 generators, one a traditional gas-fired power station, the other a wind turbine farm, suddenly failed. And what this did, this sudden drop of power, caused a variety of emergency protection measures to kick in, which basically cut electricity to a certain section of the grid. And this caused power outages in people's homes, in civic buildings, and of course across the transport network. National Grid says those problems have been fixed and that the power supply is back to normal. But of course, the transport system isn't, and there are still probably thousands of people stuck either on static trains or waiting to travel who at the moment can't.
Do we know how bad those delays are, particularly at King's Cross and indeed other stations tonight?
Yeah, a lot of focus on King's Cross, where LNER that operate the station have said, please don't come, we're closing the station, we can't cope, it's too overcrowded. They are telling people to try and travel tomorrow if they possibly can. They're saying that tickets dated today will be accepted tomorrow, or people can use other reasonable routes. St Pancras too suffering severe problems on Thameslink services. Other services which have had problems, Thameslink, Gatwick Express, Southern, all suffering problems because of this power outage.
Any idea when things might return to normal?
Well, National Grid says, of course, that the actual power systems are coming back to normal. Certainly people in their homes are reporting that they are getting their power back. At civic buildings, similarly, earlier Ipswich Hospital had a real trouble when power failed and its backup generator failed, but power is back on there, luckily. In terms of travellers, it's difficult to say. How quickly can these trains get moving again? How quickly can people be taken to where they need to get to? Impossible to know right now.
Ben Ando, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us here on 5 Live. Well, as Ben was saying, thousands of passengers face disrupted journeys tonight. Among them is the journalist Stig Abel. He was on his way from Edinburgh to London, but is stuck at Peterborough.
We ended up in a place called Sandy, where the train ground to a halt for 2 hours. They then reversed the train back to Peterborough. I'm now at a Peterborough station filled with people saying, how are we getting to London? To which the answer is, nobody knows, because all the trains are cancelled. There's no suggestion that there's any chance of getting into London at all for the rest of tonight. so people are milling around Peterborough.
Passengers at Newcastle Airport said the power cut there for around 15 minutes, but Heathrow, Gatwick and Luton Airports say they weren't affected. Brian works in a technology park in Cheshire. He was speaking to 5 Live earlier. He had to leave work early as all the power went off, but he's now home in North Wales.
So I thought, right, brilliant, half an hour early, I'll get off home. And travelling home, came up to the Two Mills crossroads, which in general are busy on a Friday night anyway, but it was chaos because it was like wacky races, people trying to get across in every direction. Earlier I spoke to David Hunter, who's an energy analyst with Schneider Electric. He told me more about what's gone wrong.
It's certainly very unusual indeed. It's been a number of years since we've seen outages as significant as we're seeing today. It is not entirely unheard of for a couple of power stations to go down within a short kind of space of time. I can think maybe in the last kind of 2 or 3 years that has happened. But in those cases, National Grid has been able to respond and bring other power stations online quickly enough that didn't cause an issue. But today it's caused a more significant effect for sure.
So the system now is back up and running if we are indeed confirming what National Grid are saying tonight, but so it's now the knock-on effects of what's causing these the problems tonight, you think?
Exactly. So National Grid has said that that's been resolved. We don't yet know whether that means that those power stations themselves are back up and running or alternative power has been sourced from elsewhere in the system. But obviously, as you've mentioned, there are significant knock-on impacts, even if power is restored to local areas. We've still got massive transportation disruption, obviously caused by earlier delays and I guess safety issues around restarting of systems and so on. So you've already kind of mentioned in your earlier report that there are significant impacts in a number of ways this evening.
Other stories this evening, and an internal government memo says there's a lot of uncertainty about the UK's ability to police its fishing waters if there's a no-deal Brexit. The note seen by the BBC says just 12 ships would have to monitor a space that's 3 times the UK's surface area. A church warden's been found guilty of murdering a university lecturer in Maids Morton in Buckinghamshire. Benjamin Field, who's 28, killed Peter Farker because he wanted to inherit his house. He was found not guilty of plotting to murder a neighbour, Anne Moore Martin. The Chancellor says the fundamentals of the UK economy are still strong, despite figures showing it shrank in the second quarter of this year. There was a 0.2% decline between April and June. That's its worst performance since 2012. And a recap on our top story tonight. Nearly 1 million people have been affected by a power cut across large parts of England and Wales, which is still causing widespread disruption to rail services. Much more on that story with Stephen Nolan from 10 o'clock here on 5 Live.
You can hear music mixes and podcasts on BBC Sounds.
Hear from some true legends, from Liam Gallagher to Elton John to Florence Welsh.
The first single I remember buying was Eminem, I'm Slim Shady.
The First Time with Matt Everett.
The podcast where we talk to them about those musical firsts that changed their lives and their careers.
And transport yourself back to the 2000s with Dermot's Sounds of the Noughties.
Music, radio, podcasts. Download the free BBC Sounds app now to listen without limits.
This is 5 Live Sport with Jonathan Overend.
And while you're there at BBC Sounds, make sure you get our pre-season football daily specials from a variety of Premier League clubs, Villa fans, Newcastle fans, Palace fans, Arsenal, Tottenham. We've been to all your clubs, Leicester as well, with interviews with some of the Premier League's biggest stars. It's a great listen. You can download them all now ahead of this new season. Well, we're underway tonight, and Liverpool are underway in style, leading Norwich City by 4-0. Second half to come. Before that, we're going to talk cricket and rugby union. Cricket first of all. Moeen Ali has been dropped by England. Jack Leach replaces him in the squad for the second Ashes test. Jofra Archer is also back in, likely to make his test debut with James Anderson missing through injury. So the full squad is Root the captain, Archer, Bairstow, Broad, Burns, Butler, Curran, Denley, Leach, Roy, Stokes and Wokes. Here's cricket correspondent Jonathan Agnew on the decision to leave out Moeen.
Well, I think it was entirely predictable, and I think the squad actually itself is predictable, in that clearly there have been some voices off calling for a complete cull of the team that flopped so badly, particularly in that second innings at Edgbaston. But there are other aspects to that game as well where England were found wanting, but I think the first match of the series, you're not likely to get that sort of mass cull. You're going to get some tinkering. Moeen Ali just looks out of sorts. He was dropped a couple of times in the World Cup. And it's not simply either one of his batting or of his bowling. It's actually a bit of a job lot, I'm afraid. Batting-wise, he's simply lost a lot of confidence. And bowling, as we saw on that critical Australian second innings, not only was he not really taking many wickets, but he also didn't have that control. He bowled a couple of beamers, real head-high full tosses, which is an indication of somebody who's just a little bit mentally confused, confidence gone, whatever it may be in terms of bowling. And so it just seems to be an inevitable decision that he had to go. And I'm sure he'll come back. He's a very fine cricketer. But, you have ups and downs, and I'm afraid he's going through a bit of a down at the moment.
Archer for Anderson, the enforced change.
Yeah, this is exciting. Archer will bring pace. And of course, we take the figures of his Sussex second 11 outing with a little pinch of salt. I mean, that was on a club ground in a second 11 match. However, he bowled fast, he came back, he bowled spells, and he hit 100 too, of all things. So, again, you take the stats for what they are, but the fact is he has played a game of cricket. And he has done it. He's bowled with a pace, and he's come back, and he's done it the next day as well. And that's all that you can do as you come back from injury. And his role, really, and Jack Leach too, because Steve Smith has a poorer average against left-arm spin than he does anything else. But Archer also to unsettle him, to bowl quick, bowl some ugly balls at him, early on, get really into him. That's what England's attack missed to Edgbaston. It was pretty accurate, the seamers. They plugged away and did a nice job, but it's just without that cutting edge that I think Joe Root will enjoy.
So that's Jonathan Agnew on cricket. I want to bring in Chris Jones on rugby union, our correspondent. World Cup just around the corner, of course, and World Cup warm-up matches this weekend, including England-Wales at Twickenham on Sunday. Chris, a couple of England debuts, Gloucester scrum half Willie Hines and Bath wing Rory McConaughey as well. A kind of different look to the England and Wales squads.
Absolutely. Wales locked and loaded. Alan Wynne-Jones captaining, breaking a cap record, Grand Slam winners everywhere for the Welsh. England experimental and inexperienced. 5 debutants in the 23, as you say, Jonathan. Willie Hines at scrum half and Rory McConaughey on the wing. They've come from nowhere to be in World Cup contention. It looks almost certain, for example, that Hines will be going to Japan after impressing in camp with his game management and temperament. Eddie Jones also trying new combinations in the back row with Curry and Underhill together, and in the midfield with Francis and Slade. So it's going to be really interesting on Sunday, isn't it, to see how these teams are shaping up both physically and tactically after those high intensity training camps. Wales are looking pretty settled. England, there have been players coming and going without much explanation, and there's a fair bit to ponder for England fans both ahead of this game and that World Cup squad announcement on Monday. We're back with the Rugby Union Weekly podcast with all the news then.
Chris, thank you very much. One of the stories here at Anfield tonight, as well as Liverpool's 4 goals. The first half injury to goalkeeper Alisson. He has limped off. Adrian has come on. Also injured is Manchester City winger Leroy Sané. Now he's going to miss 6 or 7 months, according to Pep Guardiola, with a knee injury. He tore his ACL and went off after 13 minutes of the Community Shield. Big blow for City that. This is interesting out of Arsenal today. Mesut Özil and Said Kolasinac are not going to be in their squad for Sunday's Premier League game at Newcastle. Now that's because of further security incidents. We have no further information. You'll remember the incident that was caught on CCTV, which involved them in Kolasinac's car a couple of weeks ago. Well, we don't know if this is connected. All we know is further security incidents, meaning Özil and Kolasinac are not in the Arsenal squad. We are sure to hear more on that over the next 24 hours or so, I'm sure. Andy Murray will be making a singles return in tennis at the Cincinnati Masters next week. Now that is earlier ahead of schedule, so good luck to him for that. And a location has been confirmed for the Anthony Joshua Andy Ruiz rematch. Unexpectedly, it's going to be out in Saudi Arabia on the 7th of December. Right, back here at Anfield. It is the opening weekend of the Premier League season, and on the opening night, Liverpool are picking up really from where they left off for the 6th time in the Premier League era. Liverpool have scored 4 times in the first half. The biggest opening day win was in 2010 when Chelsea thumped West Brom 6-0. And you've got to wonder, Stephen Warnock and John Murray, as things stand, whether that record might be broken in the next 45 minutes.
Well, there will be a little delay, I think, before the second half begins. Now, we've not had any VAR intervention so far tonight on its opening night in the Premier League, but there must be a problem with Michael Oliver, the referee's communication, possibly with Stockley Park, because he was all ready to start the second half and the referee has walked off the field and he's fiddling with his earpiece, and it looks as though he's pointing right across the field and asking the assistant on the far side to come back over as well. So whether it's a problem with all of their communication, we'll have to wait and see. But the officials, and in fact the assistant, has stopped on the way to speak to Jordan Henderson, the Liverpool captain, and tell him what's going on. And the assistant now makes his way across and is actually being sent off the side of the pitch. So it must be a problem with the assistant's communication, and they're pulling up his sleeve, and I think they're going to twiddle with whatever is underneath there. You can see that there is a sort of wristwatch style band that is around his left bicep, and indeed he's also having the right arm of his shirt pulled up, and there's something else under there as well, and it must be the assistant's technology that's broken down. Right, while they fiddle with that, let me run you through the teams. Balls have been produced, and the players who are out there, who are all ready to start the second half, are knocking them around just to keep themselves loose. Liverpool, their team tonight, Adrian has taken over as goalkeeper after Alisson had to go off with a calf problem. We'll have more on that at the end of the game. Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Van Dijk and Robertson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum and Henderson, Salah, Firmino and Origi. And the Norwich team, no changes at half-time. Krul in goal, Aarons, Hanley, Godfrey and Lewis, Tribal and McLean, Buendia, Stiepermann, Cantwell and Pukki. The goal scorers in the first half, a Hanley own goal, Mo Salah, Van Dijk and Origi. And still we are waiting for the start of the second half. Jurgen Klopp is talking to the fourth official. Michael Oliver still waits by the side of the pitch, Stephen Warnock, and clearly the technology has broken down.
This isn't a good sign, is it? I mean, he has to get it right, make sure that everything's right for the second half. Fans will get frustrated, players will get frustrated waiting, but as long as we get it right and get them ready for the second half.
I mean, at this stage we don't know if this is a breakdown in communication between the officials and Stockley Park, or whether it's quite simply just a breakdown of the system that they use to talk to one another. But I see the television floor manager is there, Mick, and he is trying to direct operations. Mick is now on his walkie-talkie and he's speaking to someone, and there is another official there as well. Meanwhile, the players just have to wait, Stephen.
It's going to be a long wait by the looks of things. Most important thing for the players is to keep themselves loose, keep themselves warm, ready, so that they don't get any injuries. And Norwich will be hoping to get the game underway as quick as possible, because they'll want to get out of here as quick as they can. Well, there doesn't seem to be anything happening at the moment, though.
Well, the assistant who was on the far side and ready for the start of the match, who was called across by Michael Oliver and who was having his equipment around his upper arms tampered with, he has now left the field and disappeared down the tunnel, so he is obviously having to be I presume they've got a second set of this technology.
Well, we hope so,
whatever it is.
I mean, it's just strange that they've come out for the second half and it's not been tested before they've come out, and that's the strange thing, because they've had 15 minutes break now, and then they come out and decide that, yeah, now it doesn't work, so we're going to have to try and fix it. And here he comes.
Here he comes. And he gets a pat on the bottom from Graham Scott, the fourth official. He's got his flag back, and he gets a huge cheer from Anfield. And we are now ready for the start of the second half. The plan was, by the way, for Stephen Nolan to take over at 10 o'clock tonight, but I think that might be a little delayed by the time this match is over and we're able to round everything up for you. So the second half begins of the first match of this new Premier League season, with Liverpool surely heading to victory, having scored 4 goals without reply in the first half here against newly promoted Norwich, as Grant Hanley allows the ball to run behind for a goal kick. So, I mean, the big question, Stephen Warnock, is this Norwich team capable of shutting up shop here tonight and keeping the score down?
It doesn't look like it, John. I do worry for them defensively. Again, they're trying to play out from the back, inviting pressure onto themselves again, which is okay if you've got that ability to do it. We've seen they can play up front, John. They can create chances. They're all comfortable with the ball. The guys at full-back are comfortable on the ball, but don't invite that pressure onto yourselves. For me, it's the experience. They don't have that experience to grab the full-backs and say, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, don't you be going anywhere, stay alongside me, get in nice and tight, stop the gaps, stop the Liverpool players finding them areas. I just worry about that. They haven't got that in them.
Well, I'm pleased that they did have a second set of technology for the officials. I'm not sure, we don't know if we can blame VAR for that. That might have just been the existing technology that the referees use. However, it's been sorted and we're underway. Liverpool leading Norwich by 4-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Liverpool sending out a couple of the substitutes. Matip is going to have a little run out. You were a little surprised that Matip didn't start the first Premier League game of the season, Stephen?
I was, and you spoke about Origi and being given that opportunity to play after the Champions League. I thought his run in the Champions League last year, his form towards the end of the season, was arguably one of Liverpool's best players, so he can feel a little bit hard done by. Joe Gomez's form in the first half of the season last year was superb, and I think long-term Joe Gomez is the successor to play in that position.
If you weren't listening in the first half, Gomez from central defence sent a glorious pass, which was the pass that set Liverpool on the way to their second goal. 4-0 it is. Here's Origi on the left-hand side. He's created one, scored one. Origi pulls it across. Chance here! Oh, and it comes off the crossbar. It was Henderson who was sliding in. Feet first, Liverpool have it back. Alexander-Arnold into the right-hand side, plays it across, takes a double deflection. Firmino turns and somehow shoots wide from 5 yards. It seemed almost certain that Firmino would score Liverpool's fifth, but it wasn't to be this time.
Well, Roberto Firmino's involved in both the attacks. First of all, a lovely little over. He just gets a shout from Jordan Henderson off the ball of Origi, and he opens his foot up. Fantastic save from Tim Krul, and then what a back heel from Mohamed Salah. He just plays it blind. Alexander-Arnold makes the run in behind the defenders. He finds him with a fantastic back heel, and then Alexander-Arnold fires the ball across, and you're thinking it's a tap-in for Firmino or Origi. Firmino takes it off Origi, and then he just hits the outside of the post. Norwich get away with yet another chance.
Firmino's effort just clipped the post on the way wide.
I think he should score, John. I think we're being very kind to him.
Oh yeah, without question. I think the problem was that there were two of them there. They got in one another's way, Firmino and Origi. And I think the initial save by Krul, I think he did save it onto the crossbar.
Yeah, he did. Fantastic save from Tim Krul. He's actually played very well tonight, Tim Krul. He's kept them in it at times and kept the scoreline down.
I wasn't 100% sure tonight whether Krul would play or whether the new loan signing, Ralph Fairman, would start, but it is Krul, and certainly I don't think you can attach any blame to him that Henderson has won the ball back and is adjudged to have committed a foul on Tribal on McLean, and it's a free kick to Norwich in front of their own penalty area.
There's the difference, John, just the pace of the closing down of Liverpool, and McLean thinks he's got time. He gets caught out by Firmino, gets away with it, then he gets the ball back, takes his time again. Henderson's on top of him again. You've got to speed up your play once you come into the Premier League. People say you get more time on the ball. You do get more time on the ball, but they press in a different way.
Stephen Warnock, the former Liverpool and England defender, and we're watching Liverpool 4, Norwich City 0. And Krul playing the ball downfield, and Stiepermann is adjudged to have been fouled. There is some disgruntlement from the Liverpool fans. Gomez it was with the challenge that the free kick's been given against him, but it has been, and Norwich have got this free kick that Emi Buendia has come across from the right hand side to play in right-footed from the left flank. Norwich City supporters in their yellow and green, quite a number of them are bobbing up and down in the Anfield Road end. Buendia takes in a high free kick towards the back post that is helped up and away, and the offside flag was up anyway. And it is a free kick to Liverpool inside their own box.
It's one of the Liverpool's biggest assets, this. A lot of teams come to or play against Liverpool. They try and play this ball in behind. The line they hold and the amount of times they catch teams offside is incredible. It was actually Manchester City had realised this last week in the Community Shield, and they played a short pass, then another pass, then the ball went in, and it caught Liverpool out a little bit. So a lesson that other teams would have to learn when they look at Liverpool.
It's a very tight call as well. Tribal was the Norwich player who got to it but just hiked it up in the air. Norwich come again. Cantwell is going to have a goal from 20 yards plus, but it sails away over the top of Adrian's crossbar, and it is a goal kick. Adrian, who's just receiving a warm round of applause from his new supporters in the Anfield Road end. It's his first appearance in the Premier League since May of last year for West Ham for Adrian, who is into the action because of that calf injury to Alisson in the first half. So 4-0 to Liverpool. BBC Radio 5 Live on this Friday night. Tomorrow we will have Bournemouth against Sheffield United for you. That's the 3 o'clock commentary on 5 Live tomorrow. And then on the 5 Live Premier League Sunday, Newcastle Arsenal and Manchester United Chelsea are our Sunday Premier League commentaries on this opening weekend. Hear them here on 5 Live. Here is Alexander-Arnold now down the right-hand side into the box, aiming towards the byline, and he drives it across. Took a deflection off left-back Lewis, took it into the side netting. It is a corner to Liverpool from the right-hand side in front of the Kop, the expectant Kop. Alexander-Arnold gets the ball back quickly. Van Dijk just walks almost menacingly into the Norwich penalty area and takes up a position between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. Alexander-Arnold's delivery doesn't beat the first defender, who is Tribal, and he clears it out towards the halfway line, and Liverpool through Henderson go to Gomez on the halfway line. Robertson, as Liverpool attack towards the Kop end. Liverpool in the almost all red kit with the white trim, white numbers on the back. Norwich in their first choice kit, the yellow and green. It's great to see the Canaries back in the Premier League, on the ball city and all that. Here is Liverpool with it on the left-hand side. Firmino, lovely footwork from him again, plays it back towards Fabinho, middle of the Norwich half. He pulls a pass to the right to Alexander-Arnold, who gets the ball underneath his feet and then plays it back to Fabinho. Fabinho square to Robertson, and then back towards the centre circle again. Liverpool possession here. Salah and Alexander-Arnold. It breaks down between them, but Norwich, Cantwell is dispossessed. It falls to Salah. Salah curls it from the angle wide of the far post, and that really was probably a foot away from being a second goal of the night for Salah and a fifth for Liverpool. That fifth goal, though, just feel it might be coming.
Yeah, they just get caught on the ball again. It's Tribal this time who gets caught on it. Salah, they nick the ball off him, and he just opens his body up again, tries to find it into that far left-hand corner, inches away from making it 5-0. But Norwich just have to learn. They have to move the ball quicker. Far too slow in possession.
And they are doing their thing, Stephen. You know, you've said it on a number of occasions tonight. They are playing the ball out from the back, and they will not be bowed from that. And they're doing it here. And as they do it, you're almost watching with you, holding your breath, because of the fear they'll lose possession, and Liverpool have won it back, and Origi takes it to the edge of the box. Salah, Henderson with a shot that comes off the legs of Lewis. They want Fabinho to shoot, which he does. Krul goes down to his left, spills the initial save, but he was able to pat it down and gather it as Firmino was bearing down on him.
It all comes again from overplay, and Buendia, he turns into two players, doesn't have awareness of what's around him, and Liverpool swarm on him again, and they're flying at the Norwich defence then, because they're bypassing the midfield of Norwich. They're straight at the back four, and the Norwich back four don't know what to do.
Now, will this... and Liverpool win it back again. Norwich lose possession inside their own half. Origi now in the box on the left-hand side, and then Aarons is able to put in the challenge back onto Origi, and it is a goal kick. Liverpool winning 4-0. Now, is playing like this going to hurt Norwich all season, or is it just particularly harmful playing against Liverpool at Anfield tonight?
It depends how they recover from tonight, because confidence will go down. It doesn't matter what the manager tells you. I'll take the blame. Don't worry how we play. This is how I want to play. But you don't believe in what's happening, because you're thinking, I don't want to play that pass, because in case he nicks it, he's in at me again. And that's what they'll be thinking tonight.
I think there's a Norwich substitution on the way. But that confidence can disappear very, very quickly, can't it?
Oh, so quick, and that could be everything that you've worked on all last season, and it goes in one game. And Liverpool are a very good team, but there's so many good teams in this league that are going to hurt them if they carry on playing this way.
4-0 to Liverpool. Still yet to add to the tally in the second half. Robertson taking the ball on, but it bounces away from him, loses possession, runs into trouble. And Norwich have it on the edge of their own penalty area. Hanley back to Krul. Salah is quickly on the scene. He was able to find young Godfrey, the left-sided central defender, as he is tonight. Godfrey, though, is trying to run it out from the back, and he's run straight into Fabinho. And now Salah. Henderson, too much on that pass from Henderson, who was caught late, and it is a free kick to Liverpool time and again. Norwich almost just can't get out of their own half.
Again, Godfrey trying to run the ball out, whether that was lack of options, lack of movement in front of him, because people are now losing confidence. They don't want the ball. If you're in trouble, though, spin it down the line, turn the Liverpool back four and try and get someone running in behind. Take the pressure off yourself, because if you're the centre-back and you're Godfrey running the ball out and you lose it, you're the next player that they're going to be running at straight away.
Free kick to Liverpool. Moritz Leitner is going to come on for Norwich. But the free kick from Henderson, headed away on the edge of the box by Aarons. Henderson with a shot! One of those raking Robertson efforts from the angle. Given the angle, probably 25 yards through a crowd of players, but it was wide of the far post by a distance. Still just scored the one goal for Liverpool, Andy Robertson, but he's created many, many more. Andy Robertson having his name sung. Jonathan mentioned at half-time the 5 Live Football Daily podcast specials that we have been producing for you over the course of the last couple of weeks, and Andy Robertson was very much part of the Liverpool one. They're well worth a listen, as Jonathan was saying. There are specials on Liverpool, Tottenham, West Ham, Leicester, Sheffield United and more, and you can find them at BBC Sounds. So Leitner is coming on now, and it is Stiepermann who's making away. It's midfielder for midfielder. Leitner, like Stiepermann, another one of Daniel Farke's German contingent. Leitner, the Munich-born former Borussia Dortmund and Augsburg man. Goal kick to Norwich. Krul takes this, left-footed, but it flies away out of play, and it's a throw into Liverpool on the halfway line. And Robertson has the ball in his hands, and Leitner has taken over in the Stiepermann role. Liverpool turning the ball all the way back to Adrian, who's barely touched the ball since he came onto the field in the 39th minute, but he has it at his feet now, the Spaniard. Adrian just rolls it out to Van Dijk, and Van Dijk, with Pukki close by, drops his shoulder, gives it to Fabinho. Now back to Van Dijk again, and to the left-hand side, and Robertson back to Van Dijk. Some more information from the Premier League about that delayed at the start of the second half. It was a problem with the officials' headsets that were repaired, and the Premier League are saying this issue was unrelated to VAR. So there we are. It wasn't VAR's fault. Free kick to Liverpool on the right. Henderson was just tripped, really. Henderson absolutely, when he got to his feet, was incensed at the challenge that was put in on him.
Leitner's only been on the pitch for a couple of minutes and he's yellow carded straight away.
A yellow card, that's the first yellow card of the new Premier League season, and within seconds Moritz Leitner receiving it for that cynical trip on Henderson. So Leitner yellow carded. Free kick for Liverpool on the right hand side. Alexander-Arnold plays it square to Henderson, takes a touch, lifts it into the back post. Van Dijk nods it across, but Krul is able to stretch his hands above the heads of his defenders and catch the ball. So Krul waiting for the options. Leitner drops all the way back, almost in front of Krul, who puts the ball down with defenders either side of him, and decides to go over the halfway line with this clearance. Liverpool leading by 4-0. Now on the far side, McLean is challenged and the ball bounces out for a throw-in that will be taken by Aarons for Norwich. We've not really been able to see either Aarons, the 19-year-old right back, or Lewis, the 21-year-old left back, do what they did so effectively last season, the attacking Norwich fullbacks, because it's simply not been that game.
No, and we spoke about Pukki before the game as well. Could he be the man who scores the goals? He just hasn't had the service today. He's had a couple of chances, but all in all, not clear-cut chances, and that's going to be the big thing for Norwich this season, keeping them out at the back, but then also creating chances and taking them chances when they get them.
Well, Liverpool scored their 4th goal in the 42nd minute, and we're now in the 62nd. Here is Lewis bringing the ball forward in the way that I just described, but Alexander-Arnold was able to put in the challenge and it bounces out of play, and the throw-in is taken by Emi Buendia. Now Tribal lifts a pass to the right-hand side, and Aarons has some space out there on the right flank as Norwich play from right to left towards the Anfield Road end. Fabinho gets the ball down, but he's given it away. Tribal again. Now again it is Aarons on the right-hand side. Tribal's continued his run and shoots from the angle, and Adrian had to be sharp there, and he was, to get his gloves to it, and deflected away and behind.
I think he hits the crossbar, John. It's
Leitner
who came across to the right-hand side, and he gets the ball out of his feet. It's a fantastic strike from him, and he clips the bar, and it goes over the bar comes off the bar and goes out for a goal kick.
He did, absolutely right. Hit the angle of post and bar above the dive of goalkeeper Adrian. So Norwich, through Leitner, strike the woodwork. 4-0 to Liverpool. So Leitner's brought something there. Yellow carded and a shot that's hit the angle of post and bar. And now the ball's deflected out for a throw to Norwich on the far side, halfway inside the Liverpool half, which is taken to Cantwell. Now again the right-hand side, and then Fabinho puts in the challenge. And it's another throw to Norwich down the right-hand side. And the level of the game has just dipped a little bit from a Liverpool point of view, and Norwich are enjoying a better spell. Here they are again, ball slipped through. Pukki with a chance, shoots from the angle and scores! Buries it across Adrian! And after his 30 goals last season, Timo Pukki, he's opened his account in the Premier League. Norwich have a goal. 4-1 Liverpool.
Well, we just spoke about it. If he gets given a chance, can he take it? He's taken it. Van Dijk is furious with Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's saying, why didn't you hold your line? Why have you tried to go with him? You've broke the line. He's ran him behind and he's scored a goal. He just pulls on Trent Alexander-Arnold and he just makes a run in behind. He's not offside. It's Andrew Robertson at the top of the picture who actually plays him on. But it's a great ball in for Pukki, and what a finish this is from Pukki. Adrian had no chance at all.
Buendia gets the credit for that pass from the angle to split the Liverpool defence, and he had space, he had time and space there, Pukki. But you know, you said it, Stephen, stepping up into the Premier League, he had time and space, possibly had time and space to have a little think about it, but he finished it superbly.
Great finish, and I hope from his point of view that's the confidence last year. He hasn't been affected by what's gone on at the other end of the pitch. He stays confident and he can take the chances this season.
So Norwich have their first goal back in the Premier League, and it's been scored by their man of last season, their player of the season, Timo Pukki, as Cantwell is fouled in the centre circle. And Norwich, having seen the effort from Leitner hit the crossbar, a few seconds later have scored, and things are looking a little more promising for Norwich, and their supporters absolutely loved that the moment that Pukki scored at their end, the Anfield Road end in front of them, and we're celebrating wildly. Got a little stoppage here.
Well, Buendia looks like the player for Norwich, doesn't he, John? That's going to create the most chances. Last season, arguably, yes, Pukki scored all the goals, but he was the standout player. 8 goals and 12 assists from midfield last year. Tells you all about him and what he's about.
Just a little problem for Tribal, hence the stoppage, but he's okay. And Norwich are back moving again. Liverpool leading by 4-1 now. Norwich with Light now. Then it goes back to Grant Hanley on the halfway line. Hanley being put under pressure by Firmino. And takes no risks. Plays it back to Krull, the goalkeeper. Now Lewis on the left-hand side. Leitner asks a lot of Pukki there with a ball over the top for Pukki to chase. Van Dijk has defended that very well, actually managed to put himself in exactly the right position against Pukki, who was buzzing about behind him. The little, much shorter than Van Dijk, fair-haired, losing his hair, and Van Dijk was composure itself. Goal kick.
Yeah, he always looked in control of the situation again. I just wonder whether Liverpool need to make a little change. The game, like you say, John, went flat before that goal for Liverpool, and you think, do they need to make a change just to lift the crowd again?
Ball bouncing forward for Liverpool towards the edge of the box. Salah trying to get it down. Wijnaldum turns it to his left to Origi. Origi now curling the ball over beyond Firmino. And the defenders, actually, Lewis did well there, just came across a little nudge on Firmino. Meant that he had no chance of getting to it. And it's a goal kick for Norwich. Liverpool leading by 4-1, almost halfway through the second half. Norwich winning the second half 1-0, Stephen.
Yeah, and it's been promising since, I think since Leitner came on the pitch. He's just given them something else. They've just calmed down a little bit, settled themselves into the game, and obviously scoring that goal will give them massive confidence.
I think I glimpsed a shot on our little television screen here of Delia Smith and Michael Wynne-Jones, the Norwich joint majority shareholders. I'm pretty sure it was Delia. This is in the aftermath of the goal.
And sat next to Alan Hansen as well.
Were they? And I think Norwich perhaps are going to have to make another change here, because we've got a stoppage, and Tribal, who was down a few moments ago, looks as though he's got a problem with his lower left leg.
I think he's got cramp, John. I think he's just tried to, perhaps he's just stretching there. He went down before, got stretched off for cramp.
Salah caught by Godfrey, free kick to Liverpool, 7 or 8 yards inside the Norwich half. Could be Hernandez coming on. It is. Hernandez has got his tracksuit top off, so the Cuban-born Onel Hernandez, German youth international, is going to come on, it would seem. Free kick to Liverpool on the right-hand side, into the last quarter of the match now. Liverpool scoring all of their goals in the first, 42 minutes. An own goal from Hanley. Salah, that was a very clever finish. It was a typical Salah finish, wasn't it, from the angle. Beautifully finished, left-footed, past Krull. Virgil van Dijk with a header from Salah's corner, and Origi glancing in a header from Alexander-Arnold's pinpoint cross. So Alexander-Arnold off and running with assists for the new season after his 17. But Norwich have given a much better account of themselves in the second half, and Liverpool have just come off it a little bit in this first match of the season. Origi concedes a throw-in on the far side of the field. Liverpool, who have got to go to Istanbul next week to play Chelsea there, we'll be with them on 5 Live inside the stadium. You'll hear that commentary next Wednesday night live from Turkey. And Norwich next weekend will be at home to Newcastle, their first game in the Premier League at Carrow Road. And Tribal is making way, and it is Onel Hernandez who's coming on to replace him. So this is another little milestone for the Premier League. The first Cuban-born player to play in the Premier League, Onel Hernandez, who trots onto the field. And Tribal is just getting a little pat on the shoulder. Whether he disappears down to the dressing room, yes, he is going to. So maybe there is a little issue there for Tom Tribal. But Liverpool leading Norwich by 4-1, and Hernandez has taken up a position on the left-hand side. Liverpool coming forward. Robertson on the left-hand side pulls it back. Then Arendt is able to get to the ball that was stopped by Robertson, and he plays it into the Liverpool left-back, and it's out of play for a throw-in to Norwich.
Well, Hernandez will be a danger for Liverpool. Very quick player, very direct, instrumental in the way they played last season. I was quite surprised to see him on the bench.
Liverpool win the ball back. Fabinho, Salah. Here's Firmino with a shot that's deflected wide. Took it away from goal. It bounced about a yard wide of Krull's left post. And it is a corner to Liverpool. So it means the arrival of Hernandez and the departure of Tribal means that here is Liverpool taking the quick corner. They've done that before, I seem to remember, this year. Alexander-Arnold's ball in, cleared away by Norwich, and then headed further away towards the halfway line. The arrival of Hernandez means that Cantwell has moved into a more central position for Norwich as Robertson goes back into his own half. Yeah, good to see that Norwich were alive to the quick Liverpool corner, unlike some. Sadio Mane is just arriving back in the Liverpool dugout after a little warm-up. We've seen only one Liverpool change so far, the goalkeeper. Here is Firmino now receiving the ball from Wijnaldum. Firmino just moving towards the edge of the penalty area at probably quarter pace. Robertson arrives on the left-hand side. Then it's square from Wijnaldum to Fabinho. He goes for a high-angled ball that is cut out by the head of Lewis, but it's still in the area. Henderson lifts it across to the back post, and Origi, putting Aarons under real pressure there, forces the young right-back to possibly knee it behind for a Liverpool corner.
Fabinho tries to find Trent Alexander-Arnold on this right-hand side of the box, and he does well, Jamal Lewis, to head the ball, but Jordan Henderson is on it like a flash, and Norwich get away with it. Good defending in the end from the opposite fullbacks, Max Aarons.
4-1 to Liverpool. Here's the corner from the left-hand side. Salah is headed away on the edge of the box for Norwich. Gomez takes possession, plays it back to Salah on the left flank. In front of the bright floodlights of the Sir Kenny Dalglish stand, Salah chips it towards the penalty spot. Hanley steps forward, he heads it away, bounces back for Wijnaldum and Robertson on the left-hand side. Robertson's cross is blocked by a stretching Aarons, and it bounces out for a throw-in near the corner flag, and Sadio Mane is going to be called forward any moment now by Jurgen Klopp. He's ready for action, and he's about to make his first competitive appearance of this new season for Liverpool. Sadio Mane. Liverpool take the throw on the left-hand side. Wijnaldum challenged again, a low challenge by Aarons, just pops the ball out of play. Another throw for Liverpool. 10 yards away from the corner flag. Robertson finds Firmino, glancing header, clever little header. Salah very nearly got there, it was just poked away by Godfrey, and now Alexander-Arnold got a sight of goal from 25 yards plus, but blazed the shot. The ball was bobbing around in amongst all of the heads on the Kop, and it's a goal kick for Norwich. 4-1 Liverpool lead, just under 20 minutes to play, and Sadio Mane is going to make his first appearance of the season, and he's going to replace the ever-popular now Divock Origi for his feats in the second half of last season, and indeed having had an assist and a goal tonight. Stephen Warnock.
Yeah, good performance from Origi, full of confidence after the Champions League, and rightly so, and very welcome at Anfield. He's had a hero's reception everywhere he's gone over pre-season, but they'll be equally as happy, if not more happy, to see this man step on the pitch.
Sadio Mane, after his 26 goals last season, a personal best for Sadio Mane of club goals during the course of a season, finished the campaign in great form, scoring almost at will. Norwich breaking away, the ball with Hernandez to Pukki, who's going to do well to keep that in on the stretch. Well, I thought the ball was out. Pukki slid for it, the ball rolled along the line, but not behind it, the assistant said. And the Norwich attack came to nothing, and Liverpool have now won a free kick 10 yards inside their own half. Here is Mane now getting his first touch of the new season, chesting it down on the left wing, cutting into the box, playing the ball across, and Godfrey had to slide across inside the 6-yard box to send the ball back from the side it came and out for a throw-in.
Well, there's that relationship with Andrew Robertson as well. Straight away finds Mane in space and driving into the box again, how we know he does. So dangerous when he attacks, so direct.
The 5 Live Sports Extra Super League match is over. Wigan Warriors have beaten Hull KR by 36 points to 18. If you move across to Sports XL here, Dave Woods wrapping everything up, no doubt. But Liverpool here leading Norwich by 4-1, 15 minutes plus added time to play. A slightly earlier finish than planned tonight. Stephen Nolan will take over after all of the travel disruption to cover that story for you, and all of the reaction, the interviews, Jurgen Klopp, Daniel Farke, you'll hear on the 5 Live Football Daily podcast, and indeed on our bulletins throughout the course of the night. Mane now on the left-hand side, pulls the ball back, Henderson arriving, but again Godfrey in a good position there and is able to get enough on it to send it behind for a corner to Liverpool from the left.
Roberto Firmino has just been outstanding tonight. Some of his vision, his touches, the way to pass there for Sadio Mane. And Mane looks as sharp as he did at the end of last season with hardly any pre-season under his belt.
Yeah, it was at the Cup of Nations, reached the final with Senegal. With 17 goals in his last 23 appearances of last season, Sadio Mane. Here's the corner, Salah aiming for Mane at the near post, but it was just over him, headed away. Robertson, back to Salah. Salah on the left-hand side. And it was blocked by Leitner. Bounces back for Aarons, who's able to pass the ball away. But Norwich are being penned in again. Ball arrives at the feet of Salah. Salah's into the box, takes a double deflection, and it doesn't roll out to anyone in a red shirt. In fact, it is Todd Cantwell who is able to take up possession for Norwich, and Norwich move away now over the halfway line. Lewis just beaten to it by Gomez, who's able to turn and clear the ball away. Wijnaldum deep inside his own half, looks for the space, and it's there on the far side. Liverpool still yet to add to their total after over half an hour of play in the second half. Henderson tried to shape the pass through for the run of Mane. Felt like all of Anfield was able to pick out that pass for Henderson, but it was intercepted, and Liverpool have it again on the halfway line.
I think the fans gave that away. They shouted before he made the pass, and they all saw the run as well.
Sadio Mane, who's currently in quite a central position alongside Firmino. Liverpool, Fabinho's pass, that's one back. Cantwell now through to Pukki, back to Cantwell, and Cantwell slips it forward. Lovely change of feet from Leitner, but he wasn't able to then find the pass through for Pukki. But he's certainly been bright since he's come onto the field. In fact, he's got the air of a man who feels that he should have started the game. But with Leitner on the field, and Buendia as well, who has done some promising things. Here is Buendia now, who turns. That's nice from him. Buendia is challenged. That's uncompromising from Fabinho. Cantwell, though, wins it back from Fabinho. Pukki turns 360 degrees. Robertson puts in the challenge, and Van Dijk is just able to help it away downfield with his left foot. Back for Aarons, though. Aarons is able, as Robertson arrives, to find the pass to the right-hand side. Crossfield ball. Hernandez is in space on the edge of the area. Alexander-Arnold gets back, but Hernandez's shot is straight at Adrian, who gathers the ball into his chest. Oh, the offside flag was up, was it?
Better from Norwich, though. Good play. You can see flashes of why they won the championship last year, how they're so dangerous. In Buendia looks like the standout performer for Norwich again. Just the vision he has, the ability to drop a shoulder, nice skill in the right areas. I just hope Norwich take a lot of confidence from this second half, because they've been superb this second half. They've steadied the ship. We wondered whether they could do it or not. Maybe Liverpool have dropped it down a couple of gears, but give Norwich a little bit of credit. They've grown into this game in the second half.
Yeah, and that would be understandable, but still Norwich had to come out and do this. And Pukki has won a free kick now, left of centre. They've got a chance here from the set piece, and Emi Buendia, the number 17, slight figure. He's another of the youngsters, just 22 years old. Was at Real Madrid in his formative years. Raises his right arm. Buendia takes it, goes for goal, but that's an easy one for Adrian. Right between his eyes, he was able to pat it down. He's got confidence, though.
He has, he's got bags of confidence. I'm not sure he should have took that free kick on. I think there was better options, but you can just see the confidence in the guy.
At the moment, Sadio Mane is through the middle, Firmino on the left-hand side, but Mane now does well, gets there, gets to the ball first on the far side, ahead of Hanley, who's now out of position. Mane into the area, and then the sliding interception from Aarons to put it behind for a corner to Liverpool, but Mane looks electric.
He does, he beats Hanley to the ball there convincingly, but Aarons, he's defended very, very well. You can see why a lot of people are interested in him. He's had a solid game there on the far side.
Yeah, the young player of the season last season in the Championship. I think Norwich are going to make their next change, but we'll see this Liverpool corner first. Fabinho and Firmino and Van Dijk near the penalty spot, Mane as well. This is going to be delivered in, but it's headed away by Leitner for Norwich. Back to Robertson, plays it towards the far side. Alexander-Arnold still in there, having taken the corner, plays the ball in. Two Norwich defenders went for the same ball, but they managed to clear it, partially at least. A flick from Salah into the box, but that was cleared away by Leitner. Jordan Henderson will get there first for Liverpool to play it all the way back to his goalkeeper Adrian. We'll find out from Jurgen Klopp after the match exactly how Alisson is, but it may well be that Adrian is going to play in that big game in Istanbul next midweek, and indeed the next couple of Premier League games. Southampton away next weekend for Liverpool, Saturday, and then the home match against Arsenal is the next match for Liverpool here at Anfield.
I think one thing you can see though, John, is how comfortable he is on the ball. He's not fazed by it at all. When you used to watch Mignolet, great shot stopper, we knew that, but when the ball came back to him, was he as comfortable? Adrian seems like he's in control of what he's doing. He knows he's good on the ball, so that'll be a pleasing sign.
Into the last 10 minutes, Liverpool 4-1 up on 5 Live. Henderson in space, plays it to the left-hand side into the full-back position, but that unusual thing, a poor touch from Robertson as he arrived at pace, and he just miscontrolled the ball straight behind for a goal kick to Norwich.
Again, though, great defending from Max Aarons.
The change will see Pukki, having scored on his first game in the Premier League, he's going to be replaced by one of Norwich's new arrivals, the Swiss international Josip Drmic, who was signed on a free from Borussia Mönchengladbach, and last I saw him was in Gimmerange at the end of last season, when it was his penalty that was saved by Jordan Pickford in the third place match at the Nations League when England won the shootout. But Drmic missed virtually all of last season with Borussia Mönchengladbach with injury, and here he is now on up front. Scored a hat-trick actually in pre-season for Norwich against Luton Town. Liverpool have it on the halfway line. Firmino's carrying the ball forward with intent. Hanley puts in the challenge. Well, he played the ball and the man, and Michael Oliver was right there and has given that as a free kick in the D for Liverpool.
Well, it was Hanley who got sucked in the first time, and he tries to head the ball, and Firmino just grabs a toe out, nicks it round him, and Firmino's away, and Hanley's trying his best to recover all the way back, and just brings Firmino down as he's about to release the ball for a pass or a shot. This is a dangerous position with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mohamed Salah over the ball.
Alexander-Arnold, good angle for Alexander-Arnold, or will it be Salah? Jordan Henderson is there in discussions with the two of them. Well, it's Alexander-Arnold who's got the ball in his hand. Salah is standing there just to his right. And one of the new rules now this season, if you haven't picked up on all of these, just the little changes, means the attacking side cannot have a player within a yard of the defensive wall in this situation. Clearly teams are thinking about this. I expected exactly this, and Liverpool have put up a wall in front of the wall. So it's a wall of 3 players, probably 2 yards in front of the Norwich wall, which is massive. So it's a free kick in the D. Liverpool winning 4-1. Alexander-Arnold 3-4 steps back, then a big step to his right. Salah to the right of the ball. Michael Oliver waiting. Alexander-Arnold plays in. Oh, good save. Krul, he hit that at pace over the Liverpool wall and the Norwich wall, but he couldn't beat the Norwich goalkeeper who saved it.
Fantastic save from Tim Krul. You'd expect him to save it because it's on his side, but the pace that Alexander-Arnold hit the ball at, but brilliant from Tim Krul. He's made some fantastic saves tonight.
Yeah, he certainly a contender for Norwich's player of the match. And we've got a streaker who's running on from the Norwich City section with his shorts halfway down his legs. That is very odd. And Liverpool, while he is apprehended and has his shorts pulled up for him, Liverpool are making the change. James Milner is coming on to replace Roberto Firmino, who you've been impressed with tonight, Stephen Warnock.
Yeah, I thought he was superb. I thought there was times last week where he looked a little bit sluggish in the first half. Second half he was outstanding, and today he has looked back to his best. He looks fit, he looks hungry. What a player.
Yeah, not able to get on the score sheet. Salah takes the corner towards the back post, but it's over everyone and bounces through. Yeah, Firmino not on the score sheet. Suspect he'll get an assist, won't he, for the Salah goal, but looked very, very bright.
I think everything that's good about Liverpool comes from him though. He bounces the ball off for the runs, he sees things, his vision. And I spoke about the ball going up to Pukki in the first half and having to stick. Whenever it goes up to him, it sticks. He sees something and Liverpool can make runs off him, and that's where their game plan comes from.
It's an interesting one, wasn't it, during the summer, the report that Liverpool had been offered the possibility of re-signing Philippe Coutinho, but decided not to go down that route, as Liverpool, a little bit of indecision on the edge of their own penalty area, but the ball will run away behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, you hear stories of what's gone on and what they were after. I believe the fee was in the region of 21 million loan and then £300,000 a week, and you look at that, and for the overall package, would he get in this team? Would he start for that price? And I think that's possibly what it came down to.
No, very wise, I have to say, if indeed all of that is the case. Liverpool leading by 4-1 here. And James Milner onto the field, having not been involved in the Community Shield, just had a little bit of an issue, but he's obviously okay now. Milner, who came on as a substitute in Madrid in the Champions League final. Norwich coming forward, and this time the ball is played up towards Cantwell. Initially the pass was Buendia, comes back to Buendia. Now Lewis joins in the attack on the left-hand side. Hernandez approaching the penalty area, 2 Liverpool players with him, Alexander-Arnold and Henderson. Hernandez turns, plays it back again to Lewis. Lewis takes it on and crosses into the legs of Alexander-Arnold, and the ball loops into the Norwich City supporters in their section, and it is a corner, their second of the match.
I just think they've been a lot brighter in the second half. They tried to play their game. They've just taken a short corner here.
Short corner, Leitner has received it from Buendia. Buendia, now Liverpool holding a line on the edge of their own penalty area. Buendia plays it across, Cantwell chips it back towards Hernandez. Hernandez was in an offside position, and it is a free kick to Liverpool. A couple of minutes to play plus added time. As I say, we have changed plans slightly tonight with all of the travel disruption, so once Jonathan Overend here with us has wrapped things up, we will be handing over to Stephen Nolan, but all of the interviews you'll be able to hear on the 5 Live Football Daily podcast, which you can get from BBC Sounds in the morning. Jonathan will be back 12 o'clock tomorrow with 5 Live Sport. We'll have commentary on Bournemouth, Sheffield United. We will have, as usual, the fastest and most comprehensive score service and all of the build-up to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, the coverage of all of the matches up and down the country. Sports report at 5 o'clock, rounding everything up, and then the new Saturday 6:06 with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton, which should be a lot of fun on Saturday nights all the way through the course of this season. Robbie Savage now in the new Sunday 6:06. Here is Mane getting the ball back on the edge of the penalty area from Wijnaldum. Henderson through towards Salah, right corner of the box, drags it back. Little touch from Lewis to take it away for Norwich, and then a free kick for a foul on Leitner, and Norwich have it in front of their own penalty area. Well, I think we were expecting more Liverpool goals in the second half, the way that the first half panned out, but Norwich have done well, and Daniel Farke will have a little bit of something to take away from Anfield tonight. Even though it'll be a comprehensive opening victory for Liverpool, Norwich, in the classic style of football, have won the second half as it is. Ball played out towards the far side. Robertson gets his head to it first for Liverpool. Here's Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane has scored in Liverpool's opening Premier League match in each of the last 3 seasons. Came on as a late substitute tonight. Wijnaldum, he's challenged. Fabinho is there, and free kick is given, and we will have 2 minutes of added time. Free kick given for Wijnaldum's follow-up after he initially lost the ball. So 2 minutes of added time. Norwich looking for a second goal. Lewis makes ground up the left-hand side, plays it into the edge of the area. Drumic and then Leitner. Now it's back with Buendia. Buendia into the penalty area, tried to do too much, overran the ball, and it was cleared out of play for Liverpool by Alexander-Arnold for a throw-in 10 yards back from the corner flag. Yeah, stick with us over the course of the weekend, Sunday in particular, when we will have commentary on both Newcastle Arsenal and Manchester United Chelsea on 5 Live. Shot from distance from Godfrey, saved by Adrian, only parried it. Hernandez in the box. Gomez put in an excellent challenge. Still Hernandez, left side of the area. Hernandez's ball deflects to Buendia, and then Cantwell was caught on his heels as it was pulled back to him, and Liverpool are able to take it away. But Adrian having to make a not the most convincing save from the shot from Godfrey. But Liverpool now in added time. Henderson on the right. Oh, so much space, and Henderson has picked out Robertson, and Robertson now curls it in towards the back post. Milner on the stretch, couldn't get there, it was the wrong height, waist height, no contact, and it's through for a goal kick. Stephen Warnock.
Yeah, Godfrey was unlucky at the other end. He just tried to catch Adrian unaware and fire one in from long distance. Adrian dealt with it, got a little bit fortunate, and then Gomez with a fantastic for a tackle on Hernandez, who looked very lively, running in to try and get a tap in. Great block from Joe Gomez. But positive signs from Norwich second half. Like you were saying, John, Daniel Farke will be delighted with the second half, and I'm sure he'll be showing him the positive points of the second half when they analyse the game.
Yep, looking for the positives, no doubt. But Liverpool winners, they won it in the first half. They were 4-0 up at the break. The final whistle has gone. Norwich scoring in the second half, so the final scoreline will go down in the books as a 4-1 victory for Liverpool. But Jurgen Klopp turns to his compatriot Daniel Farke and shares a warm embrace, and then goes to his coaching staff. But Liverpool winning it with those goals in the first half. Grant Hanley's own goal, forced by Origi. Mo Salah, excellent finish. Van Dijk with a header from Salah's corner, and then a little glancing header from Origi from Trent Alexander-Arnold's ball across. I felt, really, a match like this, Liverpool, even though it's the first game of the season, Liverpool almost had to win it, but they've won it well.
Yeah, they won it very well, very convincing. They'll be delighted. Great start for them. I'm looking forward to watching Norwich though, John. I think they're going to be entertaining. I think they're going to lose a lot of goals, but I think they'll create many chances, score a lot of goals. I think they'll be involved in some classic games. So yeah, looking forward to Norwich.
Yep, agree with all of that. Liverpool winners against Norwich City here by 4-1, and the Premier League is back. Jonathan Overhead.
And Norwich City have done better than Barcelona here at Anfield, and fair play to them in the second half, because we were talking, Stephen, before kick-off. Can a team coming up from the Championship, playing possession-based football, playing an entertaining style, can they do it successfully in the Premier League? And we were fearing, weren't we, during that first half, you're going to have a long, hard season. But perhaps with that second half, they've justified it. Have they, in your opinion?
I wouldn't say they've justified it completely. I think they played a little bit different. If you watch Tim Krul, he played in the right areas when he could. If they couldn't, they played up top, and then they went from there and built the possession from there. A possession-based team can be one that plays a little bit more direct, but once they're up top, then they can play out. It's very dangerous to play out from the back against high-pressing teams like Liverpool. They will get caught out. There's other teams in the Premier League that are very good at pressing from high up as well.
So Liverpool, I mean, it could have been a lot more at half-time, couldn't it? And they had opportunities in the second half as well. What have we learned tonight about their ability across the season to potentially win this title?
I think we knew it before the game. I think we knew that they'd be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. I think they're going to push Manchester City as hard as they can. They're going to hope that Manchester City have an eye on the Champions League and might take their eye off the Premier League a little bit. They're going to be contenders, there's no doubt in that. This is a strong Liverpool team, full of talent. Defensively, they've struggled pre-season. I thought at times tonight they were opened up, and that'll be a little bit of a concern to Jurgen Klopp.
You said you were surprised that Matip didn't get the run alongside Van Dijk tonight. The selection of Gomez, I mean, does that suggest to you that he wants to play Gomez and Van Dijk almost as his first choice pairing, or do you think he's got some tinkering to do over the next few weeks?
I think it's a big thing for Jurgen Klopp this year. I think it's one of his biggest challenges as manager is how he manages these players this season, because they're going to need rest. Over 5-6 players of Liverpool players played 4,500 minutes last year, whereas Manchester City's top, 2 players played 4,500. The rest of them were round about 2,500, whereas Liverpool again were up to 3,000. So they're going to need resting. They're going to need sort of tinkering about every now and again. But for me, Matip is he complements Van Dijk better, and I think Van Dijk's a better player alongside Matip at this moment in time.
Talking of centre backs, young Ben Godfrey looks a prospect, doesn't he? The Norwich number 4. He's going to be one to watch this season.
He certainly is, and I thought him and Max Aarons came out of the game. Jamal Lewis, and I'm saying they came out with lots of credit. They lost the game 4-1, but I thought they defended very well. Possibly not protected in the right way, and lost the ball in key areas in front of them, so they were left vulnerable. But yeah, they've got some very talented players, and I hope that their confidence doesn't drop too much after this game.
That's Stephen Warnock. More thoughts from John Murray in a moment as well. It's 10 o'clock on 5 Live. Just to let you know that we are coming off air with 5 Live Sport a little earlier than advertised to join Stephen Nolan in around about 5 minutes' time for the very latest on today's power outages and the knock-on travel disruption across the country as well. It's been a chaotic day, and Stephen will round it all up for you and get the very latest. As I say, he'll be with you in about 5 minutes' time, bring you some other results from tonight. Partick Thistle 1, Dundee United 2 in the Scottish Championship. In the Betfred Super League, Wigan 36, Hull KR 18, and Leeds 48, Catalans 8 in Super League. John mentioned earlier the start of the FA Cup was tonight. 7 extra preliminary round matches were tonight, and tomorrow BBC Sport will bring you its first live match, at least one live match from every round of the FA Cup from BBC Sport. And tomorrow you'll be able to watch Gravesend's Punjab United host Broadbridge Heath, and that will be live from 12:30 tomorrow lunchtime through the red button and on the BBC Sport website and app. Here at Anfield, Liverpool 4, Norwich 1, all Liverpool's goals in the first half. Norwich, through their prolific striker Timu Pukki, getting the 1 second half goal. Who for you, John Murray, was the standout performer for Liverpool tonight? Who'll get the praise from Jurgen Klopp, do you think?
I thought there was a lovely brightness about all of them. I think Gomez will get a lot of praise for that pass that he put through. But I think Stephen's probably right. I think Firmino would probably be the player that you would pick out, even though he didn't get himself on the score sheet. And Salah as well. You know, if there were 1 or 2 cobwebs at Wembley, then he looked properly sharp here tonight. But I think probably Firmino would be the one.
Sharpness is such an interesting thing, Stephen Warnock, isn't it? And you'll have had long, hard seasons, and then an all too short summer break, nice and sunny, I'm sure, but still all too short. To come back, you know, really on it at the start of a season, how hard is that?
I think it's very hard, especially with the break that they've had, 3 weeks off, and then coming back into it, and I think they had a day before they played a pre-season game, him and Roberto Firmino, and they came straight back into it, and both did look a little bit leggy in the game. My concern is not now, it's February, March, April time, because they haven't had that full pre-season, them long runs in the legs, them long days, the triple sessions in pre-season. Players moan about it, they say how tough it is, but it's needed towards the end of the season, so that's my concern with that situation. And then also is with Mane coming back, is when do they give him that break? Because you'd say in an international break they might get a little bit of time off. These guys will be jetting off again to play for the national team, so when do they get that little bit extra time off?
Both after the Community Shield, Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp were talking about this, and I know it's a bit of an old chestnut, isn't it, about whether the players do have enough time, but both of them were making the point quite forcefully that the net result will be that, as you say, it will take its toll on the players and injuries will follow. But at the same time, you know, I think the clubs do have a little bit of responsibility here as well, in that this marketing and commercial ventures that they go on pre-season. I mean, nobody can tell me that that is doing the players good when you're taking them halfway around the world.
Well, I look at Chelsea last season. They went straight to America. They lose Loftus-Cheek straight away, and it was a money-making operation. And that's something, again, that John's very right in what he says.
Some of your thoughts, Michelle. Superb Liverpool, continuing form of last season. How 5 homegrown players in the starting lineup, and how much did they cost? Love what Klopp is doing. However, Jeff, remember City, relentless, 4-0. So what should we do next? Carry on just as hard and go for 5. Still something we need to learn. Actually, the more we think about it, the more credit we have to hand to Norwich City this evening, particularly when you look at the stats. Total shots on goal, Liverpool 15, but Norwich 12 shots on goal, coming to Anfield in tricky conditions in your first match back in the Premier League with a really young, inexperienced team. Fair play, Daniel Farke's side. 5